Good morning. Today, I'll share how vocabulary instruction can be more deliberately designed for EALD learners across New South Wales primary schools, a cohort at the centre of a persistent literacy equity gap. My inquiry examines improving vocabulary instruction for English as an additional language or dialect students in primary education, an evidence-based inquiry into explicit and contextualised approaches. This inquiry sits within a diverse Australian context, where around 1 in 4 students are EALD learners, rising significantly in metropolitan schools, where it can be as high as 90%. While the New South Wales K-10 English syllabus includes vocabulary outcomes across all stages, classroom practice is often inconsistent and reactive rather than cumulative. Cummins' research highlights a key tension. Conversational English develops over 2 to 3 years, but academic language can take 5 to 7 years or more. Without explicit and sustained instruction, this gap can widen over time, positioning vocabulary as a key issue of equity and access. The key insight shaping this inquiry comes from Cummins' distinction between BICS and CALP. BICS is everyday context-supported language, while CALP is the abstract academic language required for learning. The important point is not just the distinction, but the impact on teacher judgment. Conversational fluency can create a false sense of proficiency, leading teachers to overestimating students' readiness for complex academic tasks. While some critics suggest this distinction can oversimplify language development, which is often more fluid and overlapping. Even so, it remains useful in highlighting the gap between surface participation and deeper language proficiency. This reframes vocabulary instruction as intentional and cumulative, particularly focusing on Tier 2 words that underpin comprehension and writing. This insight informed a set of connected strategies. First, a structured routine where Tier 2 words are explicitly taught and revisited across the week to support repeated exposure. Second, differentiation aligned to the EALD student phases of learning, ensuring that learning is appropriately targeted. Thirdly, multimodal supports, such as visuals or semantic mapping, to reduce the cognitive load when processing language and content. Fourth, translanguaging practices, using students' home languages to support meaning making. And finally, involving families as partners by extending vocabulary learning beyond the classroom. Across all strategies, the focus is the same: deliberately building academic language the curriculum often assumes that students already have. This inquiry has shifted how I interpret student language. Previously, I placed too much weight on oral confidence. I now recognise this can mask gaps in academic vocabulary. Moving forward, I'll assess both receptive and expressive vocabulary and provide more precise feedback on language use. It has also changed how I view families as active partners in learning, not just supporters. For diverse learners, this leads to 3 key implications. Firstly, I won't rely on oral participation alone as evidence of understanding. Secondly, I'll make academic language more visible in teaching and feedback. And finally, I'll treat students' linguistic backgrounds as assets in the classroom. This positions differentiation as the foundation for effective practice, something that should be embedded across all classrooms and not left to individual interpretation. To conclude, vocabulary instruction for EALD learners is not an add-on. It is central to equitable access. Conversational fluency can mask deeper gaps, and without intentional teaching, those gaps will widen over time. Ultimately, this inquiry has strengthened my commitment to explicit, structured, and inclusive vocabulary instruction. Thank you.